So a very good morning and welcome to the beautiful seaside town of Whitby on the gorgeous North Yorkshire coast. I've come down for sunrise. Looks like there might be a little bit of colour kicking about, mostly going to be grey. So I'm kind of thinking black and white long exposure seascapes. Let's get stuck in and see what we can do from Whitby this morning. Right, so for this first photograph we're going to frame the abbey using the whalebone. I think it's a jawbone off a whale, it looks like it might be anyway. We'll go with that, otherwise it's a very big shark. But you can frame the abbey and that's what we're doing. We're going to frame the abbey with the jawbone. We've got a bench and a light off just to the left hand side, just to balance the photograph out. F6.3, ISO 200 and a 2-second exposure. So roughly a year ago, I came here with a Canon 1D Mark III and had a bit of a play around with some compositions, but it was at the other side of the harbour. And I managed to grab a photograph of the pier that I quite liked, but I kind of always wondered what it looked like from the opposite side. So that is the first real plan of the day. So we're on a little lookout point here. So we're going to get a photograph of the pier from, well, quite a little bit of height here. We're going to look down on it and get a long exposure photograph looking down. And then we're going to meander onto the pier and we're going to try and get a photograph on the pier as well. Hopefully they'll be able to get a snaking and the bending round of the pier. It's going to lead up to a little lighthouse type thing at the end of the pier quite nicely. So let's get stuck in. Let's take the first photograph. Let's get some ND filters on and see what we can do with this one. Before the sun comes up, there's just a little bit of light on the horizon I want to capture in this photograph. So I get the feeling the rest of the day is going to be very cloudy and overcast and a little bit dull looking. So let's try and grab one photograph at least with a little bit of excitement in the sky. So I've got this photograph figured out now. We've gone with the 6-stop ND filter, which is giving me a 30-second exposure, which is just enough to smooth out the water, but it's also retaining some of the foam and the whiteness in the water, just to give us some highlights down there as well. Composition-wise, we've pretty much got the horizon on the other first point with some sky visible. You see there's just a little bit of light in the sky where the sun's about to rise, so there is a little bit of colour in there. And we've just got the pier coming in from the right-hand side, just leading diagonally across the frame to the lighthouse, sort of in the middle. So let's go ahead, we'll take this photograph. So we're at f8, 30 seconds, ISO 200, and we're going to use a 2-second timer. So before we move off onto the piers and sort of down around the beach area and inevitably get a little bit wet, I just want to talk to you a few minutes about my weak point as a photographer. I've spent the last week and a half trying to identify where I struggle, and I found 2 areas in which I can improve. The first one is probably a very obvious one, and it's my composition technique. I tend to rush things. I don't think things through as well as I maybe could do, and I tend to just dive in, take the photograph, and jobs are good. And I don't really wait and see how things pan out, and I think that comes down to me in general just being a very impatient person. So it's something I really need to work on with my photography and, well, probably in life in general. See, there have been times when I've taken photographs and they've worked out reasonably well, but I've kind of hung around in the area where I've taken the image and realised that I could have done better. If I'd just waited an extra 5 minutes, the light would have improved, the conditions would have changed, there would have been a little bit more drama in the image, and I've left feeling a little bit disappointed in myself because of that, and that's something that I really want to work on, and I'm kind of hoping that this morning is going to be a turning point for that. And the second point that I've kind of discovered when it comes to myself as a photographer is my editing techniques. I rely exclusively pretty much on one preset in Lightroom. All of my images that you see tend to be edited with one preset pasted on, and then I will dial and tweak things around to suit the image, and it kind of leaves it with this over-processed looking feel to the images. They kind of lose a little bit of the naturalness about them, and that's something that I kind of want to move away from with my photography. See, when it comes to editing, I feel like I'm quite lazy, and again that comes down to impatience within myself. I just want to rattle through the images, get them edited as quickly as possible and get it over with and get on with the rest of my day. So again, starting with today's images, starting with today's video, we're going to take a little bit more time with the post-processing, and we're just try and do things that bring out the natural side of the photograph. You see, when I first picked up photography, probably much like you guys, I discovered sliders in Lightroom and, well, purple skies, blue seas and orange trees. It kind of where things started going, and it took a long time to move away from that. Maybe only this last year or so has my editing improved to a point where I'm reasonably happy with it, but I still think there is room for improvement. So like I say, today's video, I hope, is going to see a change in my editing. So I think with that being said, it's time to get down onto the pier. There is another photographer down there who's more than likely going to get in the way or take the same photographs that I'm doing. So let's get stuck in, go get wet. So I've come down from my sort of hilltop perch, and I'm kind of wondering if there's something we can do from here before we move on to the piers properly. It's going to be a very similar composition to the last photograph, but from a slightly different angle, and I thought it might work a little bit better just sort of being a little bit lower down on the water, sort of shooting across rather than down. So I'm going to set a camera up, we'll take a testing, we can see what we can do, but there's a gap between two piers there, and every now and again there's a big wave that comes and splashes up through that, and I kind of thought if we could time it using a remote trigger, we may be able to catch that wave in motion as it splashes through. So let's set a camera up and see what we can take. Alright, so the photograph is set up now. So in terms of equipment that we're using, we've got the 3-stop ND filter on, which is giving me a shutter speed of just over a second, which is allowing me to retain some detail, some texture and some drama in the waves behind me. You might be able to see there's a fair amount of chop today because it's a bit windy, and I really kind of want to retain some of the drama in the water for this photograph. And we're also using the trusty remote camera shutter cable here, and the camera is just put into high burst shooting mode because for some reason that is where my camera's default to. So in terms of shooting settings, we're at 1.3 seconds, f9 and ISO 200 again, and the composition, well, the pier is just pretty much coming in from the right hand side and it's taking up most of the lower portion of the frame, and the rest of it is just with sky. There's some light starting to appear up there now. It's actually looking a little bit more detailed than it was earlier on. So let's wait and see if we can't time this with a wave crashing between the two piers. So if you call back a little bit earlier on in the video when I said that I tend to rush things and not think things through and take my time, well, I'm kind of hoping a little bit of a change of approach here has really worked off. You see, I've spent the last 10 minutes just shooting a couple of different compositions from this same spot on this seawall on the pier here. So we've shot along the pier, looking down at caving around a traditional long exposure, and then we've kind of spun round where there's a little bit of light going off. You're not really going to be able to see it on this little bit of the video. You might be able to see the warm light on my face, but if I show you this, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Now we've kind of been shooting along another wall, caving it around, using the pier and getting all the dramatic lighting in the background, and I really hope spending a little bit of time figuring this out has really enabled me to get a couple of nice photographs here. So I think there's 3 that I'm going to show you, maybe 2, maybe 3. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been some while since I set this up. So here's a little slideshow of some photographs I'm talking about, and I really hope I don't screw the edits up here because I've got the feeling there is potential for a couple of rather nice photographs. So almost as quickly as that colour in the sky appeared, it's now dissipated again. There's some God rays shining through from where the sun is, but all of the colour in the clouds has now dissipated. But I think it's time to go for a walk down this pier and just see what we can do. I get the feeling I'm going to end up with a couple of cliche photographs that you may have seen before, but I don't care because I haven't taken them. And I'm here, so why not? So let's go for a walk down the pier and see what we can do down there. Alright, so we've moved now onto the pier, and I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. There's holes between the planks, I can hear the waves sloshing around between me, and it's making me feel really nervous and really quite uncomfortable, and the quicker I can get off here, the happier I'm going to be. So I've set up a composition over there, just shooting down the pier, using the curve, you see, to the little lighthouse at the end of the pier. Now we've got the 10-stop filter on, we're at 20 seconds, f10 I think it was, and ISO 200, so let's go ahead, we'll take the photograph. Here we go, using a 2-second timer. Off it goes. I'm going to move over here. It seems a little bit safer in the middle here. I really don't like it. It's really making me nervous. Yeah. So once that photograph's taken, Well, I'll show it to you. All right, so the next plan, Batman, is we're gonna walk right down to the end of the pier. I just wanna have a look and see if there's anything worth shooting sort of backwards in the direction that we've been standing, basically. Today is summer the 2nd, as in the 2nd of June, and you really wouldn't know. There is a heck of a wind blowing off the North Sea, and it's quite chilly. I'm going to be honest, I didn't realise how cold it was in the bay this morning, but yeah, you see, we've still got a bit of a sunrise kicking off in the old distance, but yeah, let's carry on down the end. Just see, I'm curious to see if sort of shooting back towards Whitby or anything. Oh, that's pretty. Right, we found the photo. That the further you come down, the more this sort of pier opens up. And can you just see the lighthouse on the end is catching some light? I think we're going to stop here, set up a photograph, and see what we can do with it. Give me 2 seconds. I don't want to lose a tripod between a hole. As I said, there are holes in the boardwalk. I don't like it. Right, so I've set something up here. This is kind of just plonk the tripod down and hope you get the photograph. So 20 seconds, F13, not happening. Not happening. Hang on. Oh God, this tripod's getting heavy. All right then. 15 seconds, F10, ISO 200. Here we go. I'm really washed out because reasons. Let's spin you around. Look, there we go. Oh, there we go. That makes a lot better. A lot better. I'm a little bit worried here because I've got a 10-stop filter on still, and the sun's poked out, and I'm kind of nervous they may get a lens flare that I really don't want to clone out. Let's have a look. See these together. Play this. It looks all right. There is one little dot of a lens flare in the top right-hand corner that I can clone out. I can get away with that, but yeah, the way the light is shining, you see there's a little life ring housing there. You've got the lighthouse down there and all the pier. It's all catching light. And that is what photography is about. And light is something that I don't often get on my channel, so we're taking it and running with it this morning. I apologise for how badly this bit's been recorded. Here's a photograph. Ooh, we're back on concrete. I like that a lot better. I feel comfortable, I feel safe, and I don't feel like I'm going to fall into the sea now. So yeah, I think that's about that. I think we've got everything that we intended to get today. We've got the compositions and hopefully some more nice ones as well. So it's time for me to drive home. It's currently early o'clock in the morning. It's, oh God, it's only 5:30 still. I've been here a couple of hours now, so I think it's time to go home and go to bed. Today is a very special day for me. It's a day 3 years in the making. It is MOT day for my motorbike. Fingers crossed. I spent 2 months spending an awful lot of money tidying it up, getting it running again. It'd be quite nice if we go out and ride it. Hopefully we'll be doing that this afternoon. Fingers crossed it passes its MOT. I've still got to go find a tyre from somewhere. So I've got about 6 hours to find a tyre from somewhere. Shouldn't be too difficult, should it? Fingers crossed for that. So I think I'm going to go home. I'm going to gather my thoughts, maybe have an hour's sleep. I'm going to have a big day today. It's going to be a big day. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed today's video, please do give it a thumbs up. It really does help the video. Brings new viewers to see my content. And if you've sort of shared any similar experiences to me, rushing around competitions, faking edits a little bit, getting a little bit bored, then let me know. I want to hear your experiences in the comments below. I want to see if this is something that's exclusive to me or if other people have kind of been here as well. So thank you very much for watching. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing. I'll catch you in the next one.